Welcome to today's edition of Engineering Success Profile Editions. Today we're talking to Samuel Elegbede, who is a Senior Telecommunications Engineer at WSP. Hi Sam, welcome to the show.
Hi Jamie, how are you?
I'm
Thanks for
very well,
having me.
thank you. Yeah, it's great to have you on. It really is. I'm really made up that
Oh,
you're on it for it.
oh, you're too kind.
Can we start right at the beginning?
Yeah.
What made you choose a career in engineering?
Good question actually. I think I've got to really give my parents the thanks. I was brought up in a family where education was really embedded in the family culture.
Yeah.
You know, my dad is probably one of the most educated person I know personally.
Right.
The
Okay.
man has got 3 to 4 MSCs and an MBA, and my mom,
Right.
you know. So I think
Okay.
that was really something that grew up with me. You know, they always say you don't listen to your parents, you copy what
Yes,
they
that's
do. And
right. Yeah.
so yeah, I think, you know, the template was always set for me as a kid growing up. um, as a kid, really, I was quite passionate and energetic. I'll tell you a funny story. When we were younger, we used to go to a lot of family friends parties, and I remember there was a couple of soft drinks on the table, and I
Yeah.
put everything in a bag like Fantas and Pepsi, and I, you know, took it to school the next week and started selling selling canned drinks. And that made me understand that the concept of supply and demand really,
Right. Yeah.
in the economic way, shall we say. And funny story as well, myself and my dad used to go to car booth sales where we buy electronics, and, you
Right.
know, we'll fix it and then put it on eBay, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you
Yeah.
know, yeah, I was really good with, you know, being hands-on, and I think that's where my passion for engineering really developed, being
Right.
the person that really, you know, gets stuck into it. My
Yeah.
dad
Yeah.
was also into a lot of emerging technologies. You know, growing up, I had the latest video games out there, and, you know,
Right.
doing stuff like that sort of
Yeah. Yeah.
programs your mind in a way to
Yes.
to love engineering.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what route did you take into your career?
Yeah. So in 2010, when I finished my GCSE, I remember being sat. We had a sort of a guidance counselor coming to school and speaking to us about our next plan.
Yeah.
And one of the things, when I spoke to the woman, I told her the exact same Pepsi story, and she was like, you
Right.
know, you seem to be more hands-on than actually, you know, doing exams. And I was like, I don't mind both of it, to be honest, but I do like getting hands-on.
Yeah.
And she said, there's this thing called a BTEC. You could do a BTEC level 3. And I was like, what is that? She explained to me, and I was like, oh, so you don't do exam, you just basically get hands on and, you know,
Yeah.
play
Yeah.
your stuff. She's like, yeah, yeah. So I must have gone home to my parents and told my dad, you know, we're normally scared of stuff we don't understand. And my dad was like, what?
Yeah.
No, that doesn't seem like the proper stuff. But later on, you know, it's what I found myself doing anyway.
Yeah.
So I finished my BTEC in 2012, then got admission into University of Leeds, where I
Right.
did a 4-year course in electronic and electrical engineering.
Yeah.
I joined WSP that year when I finished in September, and I've been there from a grad to a senior engineer now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, obviously, you're a senior telecoms engineer.
Yeah.
What does that role actually entail?
Yeah. So as a senior telecoms engineer, really, well, as a telecoms engineer, I'm responsible for researching, designing latest technologies within the transportation environment, rail to be specific.
Right.
So what we do is, you know, I meet with global manufacturers and get any latest technologies that's out there. One of the stuff we on a project I'll be talking about later on is
Yeah.
AR VR.
Right.
We proposed that as a design for the HS2 project to train the staff. So basically, they could put the headsets on and get familiarized with
Oh,
the
okay. Yeah.
environment
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
before actually being built. So that was accepted. It's actually on the news online as well, by the client.
Right.
Coordination with other disciplines as well. On my project I'm currently working on, I'm leading a team of 6 in India,
Right. Okay.
designing using various industrial tools as well, softwares such as MicroStation, AutoCAD, and
Yeah.
also presenting designs to both technical and non-technical audience, really. So
Yeah.
it's a, you know, a balance of different stuff depending on what day of the week it is.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So what? Obviously, you mentioned HS2, but what other
Yeah.
sort of like large engineering projects have you worked on, and how did you coordinate with other disciplines, and
Yeah.
what was your role? Because
or role then.
it's really, it sounds really futuristic, your
Ye-
role, you know, when you
Yeah,
explain it, you
it
know.
is. So with HS2, we start with HS2 for people that are not familiar with HS2. HS2 will be the second biggest railway in Britain
Yeah,
since the first one, HS1, really.
yeah,
When this is completed, it's going to be linking from London, Birmingham, Manchester, and Leeds all together.
yeah,
It's basically to improve the duration and customer satisfaction when you're
yes,
on the train, getting to places quicker.
yeah,
So my company was awarded different free stations, Euston Station, Oldham Common, and Curzon Street. So one
right,
of the things I did on there was sort of a designer really proposing different designs such as ARVO, which I've mentioned, smart information systems,
yeah,
designing the Wi-Fi, the station radio.
right,
So that's what we do. A lot of people don't understand what the consultancy role in engineering. So I always use the example of, imagine you going to B&Q and picking up a table,
yeah,
and there's always going to be a manual in there, and you
yes, yeah,
basically
yeah.
you pick up the manual. I design the manual, and the contractor then builds it.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, so
yeah.
that's the way it works to simplify it really.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So obviously, like I say, it's quite you need quite a good vision to
Yeah,
do what you do. What
yeah,
skills do you think are needed? You know, for a young person, what skills would you look for to
yeah.
be a telecoms engineer?
Engineer. In my personal opinion, really, I don't think any skill should restrict you to any occupation.
Right.
I believe, you should live by certain principles in life that could make you successful in any field you go into.
Yeah,
We look
yeah,
at habits such as, energy, being prepared, punctuality, being coachable, body
yeah,
language. I
yeah,
think all these basic soft skills actually, could it could make you anything, in
yeah,
the
yeah,
future.
yeah,
You don't
yeah,
be surprised if I become a prime minister in 4 or 5 years.
yeah,
It's that understanding. I tell people, before COVID happened, I used to go gym, wake up in the morning, go to the gym before actually going to work,
yeah,
because
yeah,
I
yeah.
understand the value of time. So it's basically just soft skills you have to understand as a person that could make you successful in anything you set your mind to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So for you, what's the most challenging part of being
Yeah.
a telecoms engineer?
Yeah, I think as a young professional, really, I think one of the things that I struggle with in the industry, and I think it's probably a people problem, it's convincing people to evolve. I
Right.
feel like
Yeah,
most people have been set in their own personal way, and there's this, if it's not broke, don't fix it,
yeah,
mentality.
yes.
So it's basically trying to get people to evolve from a analog point of view to a digital
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
mindset,
yeah,
really. So it's such things like that, and also I've noticed maybe it's an email problem as well, not specifically to my job, but it's basically people shifting responsibilities.
yeah.
I know a football manager of mine used to say when I was younger, it would say a classic line in football is, when I say, "Oh, the keeper saved the ball," he used to go to me, the keeper didn't save it. It was just a bad finish from me.
Yeah,
So I from
yeah,
that younger age, I've understood the concept of not shifting blame on other people.
yeah,
Take
yeah, yeah.
responsibilities. And
Yes,
I think that should be something encouraged in the industry, really.
yeah. So do you think the soft skills that you talked about earlier,
Yeah.
do you think they're really important now in engineering, for us to evolve and move forward?
I 100% agree. I was having an interesting conversation with my sister the other day, and we're talking about the concept of engineering in general. People
Yeah,
normally think we're getting better as engineer, but I differ. I question it, because when you think about amazing engineering projects such as the pyramid, for example, it hasn't been decoded.
yeah,
Structured that amazing can't be built in this modern age with the recent technologies we have.
that's
So,
right.
even when you're from, I might be wrong, but from what someone sold to me, in the aerospace industry, on planes, they still use the old same controlling system on
Yeah,
planes.
yeah,
So
yeah,
are we actually getting better, or are we just deceiving ourselves?
yeah,
So I
yeah,
think
yeah.
we and engineering is not helping as well, because I'm sure a lot of people probably, when they text anyway, they use like autocorrect and stuff like that. People can't spell anymore. you know so
Yeah,
little stuff like that. It's basically, is it actually making, are we getting better, or are we getting worse as professionals? And I think
that's right. Yeah,
this is an interesting question to probably, we should start asking ourselves, really,
yeah,
to move forward.
yeah. 100% agree with that. Yeah, yeah. So what's the most rewarding part of your job?
Oh man, I like this question. I think as a telecoms engineer, really, some of my systems in a station, such as the security systems, the data networks, L points, public address in a real environment,
Yeah,
knowing I'm impacting people directly without them even knowing it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
remember reading a stats on the TFL website once where it said number of stations served by TFL is 270.
right.
Um, Daily ridership is like 5 million.
Oh,
Annual
yeah,
ridership is like 1.3 billion in
yeah,
2018. So, me doing a lot of designs in the station and knowing I am impacting at least 1.3 billion on a yearly
yeah, yeah.
basis. Oh man, trust me, it gives me
Amazing,
so
isn't
much
it?
sense.
Yeah.
I sleep well in the nighttime.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing when you say
Yeah,
it like that, isn't it? Because
yeah,
you
yeah.
don't see it, do you?
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. I think it's amazing. Even the Wi-Fi system, back in the day in London, you couldn't have a Wi-Fi system underground. But
no,
with future, with help of designers and
yeah,
engineers, we're now making stuff like that happen. And
yeah,
the HS2 on the Crossroad project, oh, it's going to be a fantastic one. There's a lot of new innovations coming to it because normally on the train side, on the rail side anyway, a lot of stations were built way before I was
yeah,
born, or
of
probably way
course,
before
yeah,
you were born as well. This
yeah,
is probably one of the few stations that I'm experiencing from scratch, and
yeah,
I'm getting
yeah,
to
yes.
walk on it. And I could take my grandkids and brag and go, listen, yeah,
Yeah, that's
your
right.
granddad
Yeah,
made that. So
yeah,
it's exciting to me. I look forward to the future.
yeah, yeah. It's very exciting. So,
Yeah.
what would your advice be to a future telecommunications engineer?
Oh man, that's a question that's caught me off guard. I personally think one of the biggest misconception out there is we normally think intelligence is the only recipe for success.
Yeah,
And growing up, as a student, it's always worked for you. Either you're intelligent, you're successful. You
yeah,
do your exams
that's
right, you pass.
yeah,
Then you get to the industry, and I've come to an agreement. You need three things to be successful in any field, really. You need that intelligence. So you by getting a university degree, you're an intelligent person.
yeah,
I feel like you need integrity as well. Integrity is
yeah,
depending on the core values of your family,
yeah,
through
yeah,
culture or religion or just upbringing. And also you need energy. We talk about that X factor.
yeah.
Energy is that X factor, and people
It
say it's
is. Yeah,
personality. So I think all these things coming together, makes a really good professional. And
yeah,
also I think it's the understanding of, patience is a virtue. As a millennial myself, we like this instant gratification. We want to be
yes,
everyone's a CEO on LinkedIn these days,
yeah,
or co-founder. We
yeah.
like that
That's right. Yeah,
overnight success, and I
yeah,
think we should understand that everything takes time, and also, we should be told failure is should be normalized.
yeah, yeah. Of course. Yeah,
Throughout the educational
yeah,
life cycle anyway, you get people being top of the primary school, being top of the class in secondary school, college the same thing,
yeah.
university the same thing. Now you get to the workplace and you're surprised because you realize intelligence is not the only thing that makes you
That's right.
successful.
Yeah, yeah,
And now
yeah,
you have, a lot of people in their 20s struggling because they feel like they're giving everything, but they're getting nothing back.
yeah,
So it's that understanding that, failure should be normalized and everyone should learn that it's just part of the game, like I
yeah,
like to see anyway.
yeah. No, it's a great way to look at it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're the industry events lead for AFB UK. Can
Yes,
you
I am.
tell us a little bit more about AFB UK and how it supports and promotes engineering? Especially with the underrepresented groups and what have you.
Yeah. I think we'll probably start off with a quote from the Royal Academy of Engineering, which shows 8% of professional female are female engineers,
Yeah,
6% are BME engineers,
yeah,
and this is numbers like this. It makes me really go, what?
yeah,
I know a lot of people study engineering, and actually on their website as well, it says 20%, 26% of engineering students are from a BAME background. So if 26% of engineering students are from the BAME background, how come we only got 6%
yeah,
as
yeah,
actually professional engineers?
yeah,
So the fantastic job AFB does is basically what we do. We promote engineering awareness within diversity, by educating people through different programs we do. We've got
yeah,
our round table, which gives industrial professionals to come into a table and sort of discussing your day-to-day lifestyle at work and what's holding you back. We call it
yeah,
transition, which is a mock assessment center settings, basically to give students the opportunity to get what it feels like being in a mock assessment
yeah, yeah,
mock
yeah,
assessment center.
yeah,
We've got a mentoring program, mentoring students from primary school all the way to university, really.
Right.
You know, I do some mentoring myself. You know, we've got so many fantastic programs through this. We got the Making an Engineering Heart campaign as well going on, raising funds, and we're trying to help, you know, go into small schools and basically, you know, help kids from different backgrounds, really. So I think we're one of a kind, really. You know, it's I'm doing a lot of selling of AFB, but I'm really passionate about the organization. You know, it's an amazing organization, and I will encourage more people to look into it.
Yeah, because like you said, at the moment you're doing the campaign to make engineering hot.
Yes.
We'll put some links in the comments and what have you, so people
Thanks very
can
much.
go
Yes.
and pledge some money.
Yes. Thanks very
You
much.
know, and get behind it.
Yeah.
Is there anything else apart from pledging money that people can do to help?
Oh yeah, you could become a member. You know, we are sponsored by a lot of organizations, from the institutional organizations such as IET, you know, and so on. The companies, WSP Arab, doing a fantastic job. So you're getting access to diverse leaders as well. You know, because one of the issues in this, I always say, it's like you have a plane and, you know, you're only finding on one engine. You could use both sides of this. You know what I mean? And it's it's if we want to improve the issues we have in the industry, also the succession plan as well, is how do we hand over to the next generation. We've got to encourage more people, young people, into engineering. And I think AFB is actually a fantastic platform, you know, people could get involved in. So, you know, sign up with AFB. All you have to do is just type in, we've got a branch in Scotland as well, so you can type in AFB UK or AFB Scotland and check it out. And we're doing some really fantastic stuff.
Superb, brilliant. Final question: you do an awful lot of work, you know, outside of your normal job, a lot of outreach work. Obviously, we mentioned AFBE to help promote engineering, help, you know, get young people involved. What is your message? What message would you give to people to help attract them? Maybe somebody that hasn't even thought about engineering. You know, to attract them into our industry.
Man. So I personally think a lot of people often confuse the gift to what they studied at university. If engineering is truly your gift, it's a fantastic occupation to you're impacting. You know, it's one of the I think it was Elon Musk who said it. He said it's probably the closest thing you get to magic in this in this world. You know, and it's fantastic. Like I said to you earlier, there's three types of people. Like one of our family friends used to say, is that there's some that make wonders happen, some that watch wonders happen, and some that wonder what happened. You know, so it's it's which one you want to be part of. If you want to be part of the group of people that make wonders happen, come on to engineering. You know, you could build the craziest ideas and bring it alive. You know, such as I looked up the other day, when a plane flying to me, it's just amazing. You know, trains going at that speed is amazing. You know, so come along. You know, it's something if you want to get your hands on and, you know, impact the world. And engineering is a big part of the economy. People don't actually understand. You know, because it's part of every fantastic economy has a good engineering structure in place to make it work. So, you know, we have to understand, give props to engineering, and, you know, it's a good occupation, which I'm proud to be part of.
Samuel, that's it. All finished. Thank you so much
Thanks
for
very
being
much
on
for
it.
having me.
Been great to have you on the show. Thank you.
No worries at all. Thanks very much.